Hello, Kindred Spirits, and welcome back to Bits and Bob's Divination. My name is Caitlin, and today we are going to be exploring the big energies for you for the month of May, as well as Taurus season. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Alright, so welcome back, my beautiful Kindred Spirits, and anyone new who is joining us here for the first, second, or third time. We are going to be looking into, like I said, the big energies for you for the month of May, blessings and relationship cards, but we're also going to be looking into Taurus season, so happy birthday to anyone else who is a Taurus out there like I am. I'm very excited about this season, of course, as most of us who are Taurus would feel, but even if you're not a Taurus, this is still going to apply to you, so do stay tuned for your pile. But before we look at the piles, I do want to remind you, if you have a question that's been lingering in your mind, or if you have a situation in which you'd really like to dive into and get your teeth into a little bit more, then definitely feel free to reach out for a snail mail reading where I send a letter to you in the mail. It is typewritten on a vintage typewriter and wax sealed closed, so it's for your eyes only, and it's on any question or query that you really want to dive deeper into. There's some of my favorite readings to do, and I really dive deep, up to 3, sometimes 4 pages long, really diving deep into your question. So if that's something that you're interested in, not only to help yourself, but also to help the channel, then definitely feel free to reach out for one of those or reach out for more information, as I'd love to send it your way. And also, if you would like to look into the other offerings or the helpful and honest reviews that I have over on my Instagram, then definitely feel free to check that out down below. But we're going to go ahead and look at the piles here. So you have 3 different piles you can choose from, or you can choose all 3 if you'd like. But for pile number 1, if you're feeling called to this piece of green jade, then pile number 1 might be for you. Here for pile number 2, if you're feeling called to this one, then you might be called to this very milky looking rose quartz. So that's pile number 2. And last but not least here for pile number 3, if you're feeling called to this piece of green Aventurine, then this might be the pile for you. But before you start heading off to the timestamps, I like to invite you to take a deep and cleansing breath here with me in just a moment to really connect with your guides, to connect with the piles, and to see what comes forward for you. So let's go ahead and take a deep breath together here now. And as always, there's no rules to this. Like I said, you can choose all of the piles if you'd like. You can take bits and pieces. You can choose and pick as you'd like. All the timestamps will be down below in the description alongside the chapter marks of this video for your convenience. And like I said, if you want to support the channel further, feel free to check out all the other offerings I have over on my Instagram, such as the snail mail readings, the rainbow pride earrings that I hand crochet, as well as other fun spiritual and magical things. So with that all said, let's go ahead and get started here with pile number 1. Hello group 1, if you've decided to choose this piece of jade, then this is the pile for you, as we are going to be exploring your month of May, the blessings that are on their way in, and we're also going to be looking into relationships and Taurus season. So happy birthday to any fellow Taurus or Taurians out there. We are going to be looking into all of this with the charms, with the tarot cards and the oracle cards, all of which I'll have listed as always down below in the description in case you're curious what we're using here today. But we're going to be using one of my favorite decks, and the one that I haven't pulled out in ages but love to pull out in May. I don't know if it's the flowers, I don't know if it's how inspired it makes me feel, but the Muse Tarot. So feel free to get yourself cozy, settled, and comfy for this. Feel free to call in your guides. And also, as always, do feel free to use your own intuition as we move through this reading. I think it's really important for us to co-create this together, for you to really use this as a jumping off point for your month of May. So let us begin with your cards here to see 3 or maybe more cards looking into the main energies on their way in for you for the month of May. What do you got going on, group 1, for the month of May? And feel free to, as always, really connect with the cards here. month of May. First off, we've got a little nostalgia going on with the Six of Emotions here, as well as the Queen of Materials. Lots of circles. Feels like a cycle maybe ending or beginning here, or just that you're kind of feeling in a cycle or a spiral of some sort here. Let's see what else you got coming in. Group one. What else? Ooh, goodness. We're going to take both of these. So you have both the Knight and Page of Materials and the Queen of Materials. Wow. You've got almost the whole court. You got the Page, the Queen, and the Knight. We're only missing the King. And at the center of it all, you have the Six of Emotions. Really, really interesting. The materials in general represent the Pentacle suit, which heavily has a lot to do with our finances, our home, our body, our health, our career, our job. So it could go a lot of different avenues, but because you have so many court cards, which usually can represent people in our lives, it really feels like it's something related to a community. So if you're working on your house and you're having your whole family help you work on it, that's maybe what we're looking at. If it's something to do with like a big meeting or a big office event or some sort of community building exercise, maybe that's what this is talking about. But regardless, it feels like a lot of people are involved in your month, and a lot of them are involved and maybe really sinking their teeth in on things related to what I mentioned earlier with the material suit, with career, with your job, with your health, with your home, the tangible things that you can touch and feel in your life, such as also money and finances. Another thing that I think is interesting is, right, we have an absence of the King, which tells me too that there can be a little bit of a sort of feeling like you are missing something or missing someone that you tangibly had in your life. So you could also see that some of you are maybe moving through bouts of grief related to someone maybe you've lost, or a personal loss even around this time, especially with the Six of Emotions being related to all of this, with the Six of Emotions being, as you can see, they've got like this child being reflected back at them in this mirror, and it has a lot to do with like looking back on things, nostalgia, memories, remembrance. And so if we're looking at that in connection to the idea of a missing piece here, especially like it being missing amongst the rest, really does tell me that sort of story of maybe some of you moving through some sort of grief process, or just remembering even, or a remembrance of someone or something that has been lost around this time in May, or that you may be losing this May. But it really feels like, as the Six of Emotions shows, something that already happened in the past. So I feel like this is something you've probably already experienced and are moving through and trying to come to terms with. So those are the things that I'm really seeing just off the jump, but we'll see what else comes forward, if anything else really sparks as we move forward. But what we're going to be doing is looking into a blessing card. So this could be a blessing from a spirit or a god or goddess that you work with, or goddess that you work with. But what I also like to preface is this: if you're not into blessings and you're not into spirits and that kind of stuff, you can also just see this as an energy that's just most in your favor this month, an energy that you can really utilize and put to your life in a very positive manner. So let's go ahead and see what that is, what energy is most in your favor, or a blessing on its way in for group one here. It's something they can really look forward to. And you're like, yes. Ooh, transformation. So transformative times, and I haven't brought this back up, but oh my gosh, there's just so many circles in this card as well, with that circle, things coming back around, that the past coming back and circling back into your life. That same feeling here with the Queen of Materials. The Queen of Materials also showcasing again that this is probably something that's already happened, in the idea that the Queen has already matured. So it's maybe something that you experienced, a year, 2, 3 years ago, or even later, that it's coming back around, and you're, still working through possible grief, right? Grief is a very weird thing. You could feel fine 1 minute and then 20 years down the line, you're still feeling just as bad as the day that something may have happened. So when I'm thinking about this, that idea of like things coming back around, that's really where a lot of that transformation is coming in. As you can see, this butterfly is showcased in a ton of circles, lots of different ways in which things are coming back around for you. And so this transformation is going to be a really helpful thing, a very useful thing, a positive thing in your life, a positive force for you to take advantage of as you move through these next few weeks. And that it's okay to allow yourself to transform and to go through kind of those ugly transformative stages too, outside of even the grief that I talked about earlier. Just in general, if you're going through something at work or going through something where you're working with a community and it's still kind of shaky and you don't have a good foundation there with these people, or you're still building a community with them, or like I said, whatever this project maybe that you're working on too, related to a lot of people, maybe it is also that it's just going to go through some ugly or not so cute phases. Like if we think about the butterfly, yeah, it's cute at the end, but when they're in the chrysalis may look pretty, but on the inside, like this caterpillar is literally turning to goo. So it's not always the cutest process. And so sometimes people that we get ourselves surrounded by remember an old version of ourselves and remember what you used to be like, or what you used to be like before you've transformed. Or, you know, I don't know if you guys have ever had this where like you're trying to transform, you're trying to try on new clothes, you're trying to try on a new identity, a new label, a new way in which you want to express yourself, a new way in which you want to see the world. And the people who haven't seen you in a while come to see you and they just feel like you're a completely different person. But it's really just because they missed out on those transformative moments, or they just feel like you're in that awkward in-between phase as you're transforming. And so really take advantage of that transformation and don't let other people kind of pigeonhole you. And I'm almost seeing that here with the way that this is done, like pigeonhole you back into the past, back into who you used to be, because there's something transforming that is really important for you to take on, and not let other people kind of push you back into a corner of where you used to be. Because if they're doing that, it's just because they're gaining something on the other side of that, right? If someone's trying to push you away from transformation, it means that they are gaining something in order to do that, or on the other side of that. Because if you're transforming, then whatever they were gaining from that way in which you presented yourself no longer may be, and thus they don't get the benefits anymore. Which means they're not necessarily a bad person, but they're not really having your best interests at heart, because we're always transforming. So let me continue to move forward for you guys here. We're going to look at a Secret Garden card here, and this is going to be showcasing some clues into what your relationships might look like over the next few weeks, just as an overarching sort of card. But if you have a specific relationship in which you want to look into further, maybe one we've already kind of talked about here, do feel free to put that energy into the cards. So let's see group 1 here for the next 2 weeks. So we have relax, or not 2 weeks, the next, maybe it is happening in the next 2 weeks for you guys, since I had that come forward, but the next month you have be present and relax. So that's really nice to see. Like, we have so much happening in the past, so much dragging things back up, remembering things, and you can get kind of stuck there. And you're also maybe looking towards the future with all this transformation. So the idea that maybe when you're with other people, you're feeling more present, you're feeling more mindful, you're just really taking in the time that you have with them is really nice. Use the hours, don't count them, with be present. And relax here says delight in powdered gold sunshine with a little sun and a sundial as well. I just realized that connection. You have a sun and a sundial. So there could be someone also that is helping to direct you or move you forward a little bit. Like I said, there can be people who are trying to direct you in not so great ways when it comes to your transformation, but because this is a positive force in your life, a blessing in your life, it does tell me too that there are people definitely on your side who are just wanting to be mindful with you in this new transformative process and just sort of relaxing and being present in this stage of you. So really cool that that is coming forward. Outside of that, just in general, it's just going to be really relaxing in your relationships, and it's not going to be dramatic or something you really have to heavily look out for over the next couple of weeks. But let's go ahead and look towards Taurus season, and then we're going to be pulling some charms. But if you have enjoyed this video so far, do be sure to give this video a like. But what I want to do with these cards is look into Taurus season. And specifically, I want to get really specific about this because Taurus season is the time to indulge. Obviously, there is, when we're talking about indulging in things, there's always sort of a moderation there, but Taurus season is the perfect time to smell the roses, to get deep into something that you really like, making sure that you really be present and take in the time and the things that you enjoy and indulge in them. And so no matter who you are, if you're a Taurus or not, by the way, again, happy birthday to any Taurus people out there, we are going to pull this one for everyone and just see what's coming forward for you guys. So let's see what you could be indulging in for Taurus season. Group 1. Ooh, you got Strut with the bird named Killdeer here. And it says, am I carrying myself with love? And you got that sunshine again right behind them. So I really feel like this is a good time for you to, like I said, strut that awkwardness, really allow yourself to indulge in being a little bit awkward, being sort of in between phases, not really having everything entirely figured out. There is this feeling too of that relaxing feeling that I was talking about earlier with that sun energy. And so I really feel like you guys are, this Taurus season for you, what to indulge in is really indulging literally in yourself, giving yourself a hug, really taking the time to, say hi to yourself in the mirror, really indulge in being able to sort of strut your stuff when it comes to your body, when it comes to the way you see yourself, when it comes to your confidence, when it comes to bolstering that confidence, when it comes to wanting to not only love yourself, but carry that love around with you and to use it to share it with others as well. And so there's a lot of indulgence in that and really putting yourself first as well. So I really like these cards that you have so far. Let's go ahead and finish off with some charms. So do feel free to send your energy in. As always, have a little chat with them, and we'll pull some for you. Group 1. Okay, so we have a lot going on over in the transformation. Got another one here that we have showing up. So what I thought was interesting with the one that I just threw down is that this is the sewing machine charm. So I usually see this as like bringing two things together, trying to stitch something back together or mend something. And you have it showing up here right on the face of this person here, who would represent you, right? And so if this is the card about nostalgia, about looking to the past, about remembrance and such, there is a lot of mending happening here. There is a lot of putting things back together, mending things, especially when it comes to those cycles that are coming back around. You also have, this just got stuck on here, so ignore that part, but you have the forward movement charm, because this represents in and is used in the actual game of chess as a very forward-moving, back and forth kind of charm or piece. And so this tells me too that the transformation that you have happening is a very healthy and forward-moving one for you, because, you know, sometimes we transform and it really takes us backwards. In this case, it really feels like it's leaping you forward. You also have the pawn that's showing up over here next to that transformation. Usually I see this as a person. So again, there's a lot of people involved in your month. You have either a very social month or just there's a lot of people involved in the transformation that you have happening. Maybe it's to do with something being dredged up from the past. Maybe it's that grief. Maybe it's the remembrance. But regardless, that is definitely connected. And then you also got the charm of what I call sort of like a spirit. If you believe in spirit guides and you work with spirit guides of any kind, I always see this as like them working behind the scenes to make something happen. Like you see it happen at the end goal, the transformation at the end goal, but they're helping you transform in little steps along the way. They're nudging you here and here and here and here. And so I feel like you also have a lot of support on a spiritual plane too over these next few weeks. So overall, those are all of the charms and cards that you have here for your month of May and for Taurus season. I hope that this has been useful and helpful to you in navigating your next month and what might be showing up. If you did enjoy this reading and you got something out of it, definitely be sure to give this video a like. It really does help the algorithm and helps me out along the way and lets me know that you enjoyed the video. And if you want to tell me in more detail of what you saw or how the charms connected with you and such, then do let me know in the comments down below. Always curious to hear your thoughts. If you're interested in seeing more pick a card readings like this one, as well as charms, then definitely feel free to subscribe as I put out new videos every single Monday that I think you'd really enjoy. And I also like to sprinkle in ones for educational videos on charm casting and how you can create your own charm casting set, as well as art magic. So if you're interested in any of that, like I said, do feel free to subscribe. But also if you want to support this space even further and keep it running here as well as support yourself, then feel free to check out the snail mail readings that I offer, where I send a letter to you in the mail. It's typewritten on a vintage typewriter and it's wax sealed closed, so it's for your eyes only on any question, query, or situation in which you'd like to be read upon. So if that's something you're interested in, definitely feel free to reach out and I can send more information your way. And with that all said, I'm going to go ahead and close off this reading here. Thank you so much for being here with me, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye. Hello Group 2, if you've decided to choose this piece of rose quartz, then this is the pile for you, as we are going to be navigating your next few weeks with the month of May, seeing what's coming in for you for those bigger energies on their way in, as well as looking into the nuance with your relationships with Taurus season, as well as looking into the blessings on their way in for you. So we're going to be doing that with the charms here, as always, as well as several different oracle decks and the main tarot deck that we're using here today to be the Muse Tarot. I love this tarot deck mostly because it's got that spring energy just in its step, and it always makes me feel really inspired, so I hope it kind of inspires you as well. But if you want to see what we're using here and what I've got, out for you all of the information on the different decks and supplies will be down below in the description. But let's go ahead and get right into it. Feel free to call in your guides. Feel free to connect with the deck and supplies here. And also, if you want to put your own intuition and spin on the reading, I'd love to hear it at the end, because I always think it's important for us to, work on our own intuition, and these are great exercises. So feel free to see what you see in the cards. Feel free to kind of explore them with me. So let's go ahead and see Group 2 for the month of May. What are the biggest energies and themes coming forward that are most important for us to hear for the month of May for Group 2 here? So, interesting. You're starting off with both the Muse of Emotions and the Queen of Voices. Lots of court cards coming forward for these piles today. If you guys saw pile 1, you'll know just how many. And then you also have the Death card. Okay. Really wild start, because like I said, you've got 2 court cards and then the Death card hanging out here too. And I know the Death card can seem really scary, especially if some of you aren't familiar with tarot, but it usually represents a lot of the time something that's more like a bittersweet ending or something that kind of can give us a rebirth, a restart of some sort. But it does usually mean that something has to end. It doesn't necessarily mean actual death, but it can represent, something that is ending so something new can begin, a rebirth or a situation in which we are evolving from one stage to the next. And so if we're looking at this death card, it really has this cocoon energy, like you're really trying to burst out, right? You are bursting, ready to move forward, because maybe things have gotten stale. We've got like cobwebs hanging out here, like something's gotten stale, and you're ready to move forward so that you can actually have a new web. And maybe that web has to do with like the people you surround yourself with, because you do have court cards, and court cards represent people in our lives. It can represent the way that we interact with other people. And so if I'm looking at this next to these two cards, it's really telling me that there could be a situation socially that you're wanting to evolve or change or burst out of. Maybe you're just wanting to connect deeper with these people, right? Really like pry yourself open, be more vulnerable, share more of yourself. Or it could be the other way, where it's like when we look at this web, there could be like networking that's happening, this feeling of like who's getting in your net. Are these the people you want to surround yourself with, or are these the people who are just finding themselves sticking to you? You know what I mean? And so there is this feeling too, like, and it almost feels like resonance here, like there's this feeling of like sound waves. And so it's like, are you guys even on the same sort of wave? Are you on the same sort of resonance with one another, the same vibe, right? It really feels like maybe there is an evolution happening within your friend group, within the people you surround yourself at work, within the way in which you even present yourself in social situations. And maybe there could be an identity shift that's happening here as well. This showed up a little bit in pile 1, but I really feel it more so in your guys' pile, of this feeling of like needing to like truly burst out of your skin. Like it just feels like you've just been held back for a while, and I feel like there's something where you're just like, I want to tell you guys this thing, or this new thing has been happening for me and I haven't been able to share it with you, or just truly wanting to transform in some way, or have like that rebirth feeling too. And who these people may be, we've got the Queen of Voices here, and the Queen of Voices usually represents someone who is a chatterbox. They are somebody who really enjoys conversations with you, or that you just really enjoy really having a lot of conversation. And maybe it's someone that you're that is very logical as well, someone who maybe enjoys writing, maybe enjoys public speaking, where they're really okay with words and communicating. So there is that feeling too, that maybe you guys are chatterboxes together, and maybe the reason why you're feeling this way is because there's something you've been holding back, or something that you haven't been able to really share with them. So there's something going on there. And then you also have the Muse of Voices here, which is kind of showcasing another feeling too, or emotions rather, the Muse of Emotions, which represents the cup suit in like a traditional tarot sense. And it really does have that cup energy, right? We've got these two fountains pouring out of your heart on both sides, and it feels almost Two of Cups energy, where you've got like two people really deeply connecting, but they're back to back, which it's not like they're facing each other and being like, okay, so this is this new thing that's happening for me, and really pouring your heart out to each other. It's rather pouring in two different directions, which is just giving me this feeling again that there's maybe someone who maybe just isn't really matched, like there's nothing wrong with them, but you guys just aren't really aligning anymore. Maybe there's this feeling like going through an awkward phase with them, or just not feeling as deeply connected as you once were, and you're kind of moving in two different directions. And it doesn't necessarily mean that that's a bad thing, or you have like a negative association with this person, but just rather that it's maybe important to either try to bring things back together and find a common ground, or it's just that it's okay for you guys to have very different feelings towards, your interests, your hobbies, the way in which you communicate with others, or the way in which you present yourself. And so maybe that is also starting to show up here as well. So let's go ahead and move forward and see what you have coming in for your blessing card. So if you're not really into the idea of a blessing, or something that is a blessing from a spirit guide or a spirit in your life, then feel free to also see this just as an energy most in your favor this month, something you could really take advantage of. So let's see what that is for you all. I feel like it's this top card. Interesting. With trust coming forward, because trust is very important in any relationship. Being able to trust another person with your heart, with your interests, with your quirks, with your flaws, right? To be able to trust them as well in a like financial sense, or a sense of like with your body or with your time, right? It could go a lot of different ways. And so because this is a blessing in your life, it really feels to me, especially with all this winged energy with the Queen of Voices and with the sort of moth here that we've got in the Death card, that the person who's going to be most, a blessing in your life is whoever's really kind of connecting with this Queen of Voice energy, because you also have the wings in this Trust card, sort of like as a trust fall, and being able to have them sort of hold you up. So it does feel to me that, again, there's someone maybe you're moving away from, as well as someone you're moving closer to, and starting to trust more and to kind of share a little bit more of yourself with as you continue to move through this sort of rebirth, or this new cycle of your life, or a new identity in which you're taking on. So trust is a huge one, and the fact that it's coming forward for you for a blessing is really, really nice to see. So we're going to pivot that towards relationships even more with a relationship card. If you guys are familiar with these readings, I like to do a couple of relationship cards here, or one or two, just to see what the general feeling is for relationships for you. But if you have a specific relationship in your life that you want to look into, feel free to really connect that into the cards here, and we'll see what comes forward. So, I've got a hair here, sorry. So let's go ahead and see. Group 2, I've got Joy, as well as, let's go ahead and see if there's one more here. Group 2 for the next few weeks for May. And beginnings, interesting, because the Death card represents new beginnings. It could also be a new person showing up in your life. I guess I hadn't really considered that, but you might have someone new coming into your life too, as one sort of door closes, or maybe it doesn't entirely close, but it's just sort of, in flux right now. You might have someone new entering into your life as well, that you're starting to really chat with and really have these deeper conversations with right from the jump. You have beginnings. Don't be afraid to start small. Maybe starting small with small talk or small conversations, and seeing them continue to grow and grow and grow. But you also have the Joy card with make time for the little things today. And there's these little ladybugs as well. So you could also just be feeling joy with this person, or there's a lot of joy with that. Also, because beginnings and joy are coming forward, it's really making me think of like a bundle of joy. So this could be very specific for a few of you, but maybe there is a new family member coming into your life in some way, or a new child in your life that's coming forward as well. So let's pivot towards the final part of the cards of the reading, but don't worry, we will be pulling some charms right after to look into Taurus season. So happy birthday to anyone who's a Taurus out there. I also am a Taurus, so of course I love this season. And what I really want to focus on for all of us for this season is how we can indulge in the beauty of the season, really indulge in ourselves a little bit more, or in other parts of our lives, really digging our teeth into it, right? Because Taurus is all about that sensuality, that digging our deeply into something that we really love and enjoy and find enjoyment out of. And so I want to see what that is for you, what it is that you're really digging your teeth into and really taking a bite out of and really enjoying and savoring the taste. So let's see what that is for you. Group 2. I know I made a big fuss with that one, but it doesn't feel like the right card. So I'm going to keep going. Let's see what you get. Okay, so this makes a lot of sense. You got the stink bug. I love this card with flip. How does the situation look and feel from a different point of view? When I'm looking at this, you can use that as a prompt in general to kind of prompt yourself to think about the idea of flipping on something. But because you do have that death card, all about, new beginnings and flipping from, one space to a new one, This tells me too that for you, maybe what you're really indulging in is the flip, is the sort of ricocheting yourself into something new and throwing your all into it. Because if you think of a stink bug, right, when they're stuck on their back and they have to sort of flip themselves over, right, it's very quick. It's a very quick process. And so for you, I really feel like, again, you've been held back. And by the time you finally get to that other side, you're like, no, I'm flipping and I'm not going to go back. And so it really feels like for me, when I'm looking at this card for you guys, it really feels like a very sudden, almost whiplash kind of feeling. And you're like, how would I indulge in something that happens so quickly and so fast? Maybe it's about indulging in the idea of not dwelling on or making this a really slow, tedious process for yourself. Just put yourself all in, jump 2 feet in, do the trust fall thing that's happening here, right? Not only to find trust in other people, but trust yourself to just really dive into something, find the joy in the new beginning. So really like that this is coming forward for you with the stink bug. So let's see if we get anything else with the charms to sort of further see. So feel free to have a little conversation with them, and we'll pull some for you, group 2. I got one falling in my lap as always. Okay, we'll see if it wants to be a part of it. Oh, okay, it does. So let me just zoom you in here and we'll have a little look. So most of them fell over here on the flip. What I think is really interesting though is you got the weight charm, and this usually represents something that feels like a big weight or a weight lifted. And the fact that you had it falling here and kind of rolling around makes me feel like it's not super heavy. It's not something that's wanting to stay still, or feels stuck, especially with how you were feeling previously in this death card. Energy of this rebirth, right, of not wanting to be where you were before, held back and a weight. But this weight is really being lifted, like you're being able to lift a weight off your chest by having an open, honest conversation with someone new in your life, or with someone who isn't new, like I said, and you're just really having a deeper conversation about something that you're transforming in at this time, something that you can really trust them in right now. This could be related to love in some way, because you do have the fall in love charm. So some of you maybe are entering a new relationship, and that's maybe why you're falling quite deeply, or maybe you're flipping into it. Maybe there's that whiplash feeling of like, really falling for someone. So you do have the fall in love charm. This used to say it so much better, but it's kind of slowly died when it comes to how this is. And I find that funny too, because this keeps feeling like I want to flip it. So it really does tell me too that like this trust is coming in, and that same feeling that I had with that whiplash feeling of the stink bug. You also have the focus charm too, which is telling me too that you're really focused on this flip, on this change of perspective for yourself, on your identity or how you are presenting yourself for this new situation or relationship you found yourself in, because you do have the needle threader. So I always think of this as like something you have to like really focus on. Even tunnel vision as well. This can tell me too, sometimes when we get in new relationships we can get like really zeroed in, or a new hobby or a new version of ourselves that we're transforming in, something new that we're really putting our all into and fixating on. You can get a bit of that tunnel vision, so that's something to consider. You also have the hesitation charm, which is really interesting. I always feel like this is like a bird about to fly for the first time and they're hesitating. They're like, should I go? Should I not? Should I stay on the branch? Should I? And that made a satisfying sound. And I feel like for you, there isn't a lot of hesitation. If anything, I feel like you have the opposite to that. You're just putting 2 feet in. So it's like, yes, you may hesitate at the start, but once you're in it, there's literally no going back. You also have, to end all of your charms here, the insecure charm. So this can tell me again, maybe that's where that hesitation is coming from, is insecurities or past, situations that have kind of made you feel, or that you're focusing on quite deeply right now. Maybe related to love, or related to, past situations within relationships that have made you kind of feel this way. But I do feel like, again, you're like letting some of that go. You're kind of pulling it off of yourself. You're letting yourself trust yourself a little bit more, work on you a little bit more, and do it for yourself. There's a lot of empowerment here, and like you're really working towards stuff for yourself. Like, it's not like you're trying to do things for other people anymore. If you're moving away from someone, you're moving away from someone, you're drifting. If you're reaching out to someone, falling in love with someone, getting closer with someone, it's because you want to, and you're not wanting to feel that insecurity anymore. And by quickly flipping on it, I feel like that's making it so that you don't focus on those insecurities too long or hesitate too long. And so that's really nice to see as well, that you're trusting in yourself enough to just free fall into it, whatever it may be, with this new cycle, identity, or version of yourself that you're moving into. So those are all of the charms and cards that I have for you here, group 2. If you did enjoy this reading and you got something out of it, definitely be sure to give this video a like and let me know in the comments down below how it connected with you. I'm always curious to hear. And if you like these pick a card readings and you'd like to see more of them, I put out new readings every single Monday that I think you'd really enjoy. And I have already tons of videos that you can check out also on the channel for educational videos on charm casting as well as art magic. So definitely feel free to subscribe and check those out if you'd like to. And if you're interested in looking deeper into another situation that has arisen for this month, or a situation or question that's been on your mind, then definitely feel free to reach out for a snail mail reading where I send a letter to you in the mail. It's typewritten on a vintage typewriter, wax sealed closed for your eyes only, on any question or to answer about any query or situation in which you are curious about. So if that's something you'd like, definitely feel free to reach out with any questions and I can send some information your way. Lots of helpful and honest reviews and more information down below through my Instagram as well. So with that all said, I'm going to go ahead and close off your reading here. But thank you so much for being here, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye. Hello group 3, if you've decided to choose this piece of green aventurine, then this is the pile for you as we begin to explore your month of May as well as Taurus season. So happy birthday to anyone who is a Taurus out there. I also am a Taurus, so I'm very excited to be in this season. But even if you're not, this is still going to resonate for you in some way, in how you are maybe expressing yourself for this new season. So we're also going to look into blessings and relationships and all the little nitty-gritty stuff with the charms, with the tarot cards, with the oracle cards, which as always I'll have all of this listed down below in the description in case you're curious. But today we're going to be starting off with the Muse Tarot, which I have been finding is such a muse, so I'm really excited to bring it forth for you guys. It's been a very inspiring deck, and also, I mean, it's spring, so it's got such spring vibes. So if you are ready, if you are cozy, if you called in your guides if you'd like to, then we're going to get started. Feel free to send your energy as always into the deck, and as always, also definitely feel free to use your own intuition to co-create this reading with me, because I always find that there are things that you guys are going to see and pick up on that I'm not going to see, or that this is just really good practice as well if you are getting into tarot and oracles. So let's go ahead and get right into it by pulling a few cards on what the biggest themes and major energies are coming forward for you for the month of May. So let's see, group 3. Feeling this top card here. Got the 8 of Voices starting you off. Let's see what else there is. Group 3. You also have the 5 of Emotion. And the 2 of Materials. I don't really think it's reversed, but I think it's just kind of heightened. Like, I feel like this 2 of Pentacles or 2 of Materials has almost been highlighted. This 2 of Materials is a card all about trying to find your balance, trying to juggle too many things. And sometimes when we're juggling things, right, they're literally juggling these 2 roses. They have their leg up in the air. They're also balancing on top of a flower, on top of a sort of gem here. And so obviously they're kind of going through it. They have to really have extreme focus to kind of keep this all in balance. But, you know, sometimes we work better under pressure. Sometimes, I don't know about you, but I feel like I work better under pressure sometimes when I have a deadline, or I have something that like I have to maybe procrastinate up to, but then I, you know, forge through at the end. And for me, that's how I experience sort of this card with the way that it's showing up here. But for you, I feel like you are finding that it is sort of tilting in a lot of different directions that you're not prepared to take on. Because the Two of Materials, like I said, you're really juggling a lot of things and you're trying to find balance. And some people are going to feel really comfortable in this situation. They've figured it out. They know how to perfectly balance it. But for you, I feel like you haven't found that balance yet, or you're having to really find ways in which to sort of deal with the situation that has shown up for you. And so this may be related to a lot of things in our lives, right? We may feel out of balance when it comes to our health, in our organization, in the way that we're balancing jobs and work and home and family and socializing and any one of these different things plus more. And I feel like you are maybe balancing a lot of things on this one little tiny pinpoint of time. And that pinpoint is even shown again, right? We've got you balancing on this teeny tiny little pinpoint, and also the five of emotions over here, or Five of Cups. They're even sort of looking at this pinpoint. And so maybe the reason why you're feeling a little out of whack is maybe you're moving through a bit of grief, because the Five of Emotions can sort of represent this sort of flow of emotion. Like it's sort of like when we're going through a wave, sort of like grief comes in. For me at least, I experience grief in waves, but I know everyone experiences it in different ways. But it's like sometimes you're absolutely fine, and then the next, this huge swell comes in and just sort of takes over you. And so I feel like, yeah, maybe you're balancing this fine, but then a wave of grief is coming forward. And maybe that's grief towards a job opportunity lost. Maybe it's grief towards a situation that's arisen for a anniversary, or the loss of someone in your life. Maybe it's also just the loss of money, or the loss of time, the loss of ability, right? There's a lot of different things that we're constantly juggling, right? And sometimes we aren't allowing ourselves time to really feel that grief. And if we don't, feel that grief, it's just going to get bigger, the waves. So I also am seeing here, you have the Eight of Voices in between all of it. And where you have like these wavy lines behind here, right? Lots of wavy lines, letting yourself feel it, letting yourself really take in the emotion that you are feeling. Between these two cards, right? Finding balance, feeling out of whack, a little out of balance, and being able to maybe find balance because you've let your emotions flow. What's kind of blocking it in the middle is the Eight of Voices. And the Eight of Voices, or the Eight of Swords, usually showcases us sort of binding ourselves, or putting ourselves in a bind. And usually it's a very much a mental bind. And so maybe you have kind of really truly put up a wall or a block from being able to find the balance that you need, because you aren't moving through certain emotions. So you may think it's just because like maybe you need to organize your time better, or maybe you're just feeling like, I got the kids and I got to run over here and I got to go run to the store and this is happening and I got to make sure this happens and oh my gosh, and you're just kind of running everywhere. But maybe you think it's because it's an organization thing or a planning thing, or just in general you're really busy. But this could all be happening behind the scenes, and this is what you're kind of blocking yourself from feeling those waves or feeling those emotions, or allowing yourself to feel in general. As the pentacle or material suit can also showcase us feeling very like trying to be rock solid. And so hopefully I'm making sense here, but it really just feels like for you guys this month, the advice that is coming forward from these cards is definitely to feel your emotions, feel through the things that you have these mental blocks for. I'm not saying all at once, obviously in balance and moderation and time, in ways that feel safe, depending on the types of, heavier topics that maybe you are moving through. But the Two of Materials, where you're feeling out of whack and you think it's something outside of yourself, maybe it's something happening actually within. And I think that's something to consider moving forward for your month. So I want to turn the conversation with the cards towards a blessing card for you all. You guys have so much going on for you guys for the month. It feels very busy. So I'm definitely wanting to see what you got coming in for a blessing, for something that can be good for you. You can also see this as just a card most in your favor. If you don't really like the idea of blessings from spirits, you can just see this as a card or an energy most in your favor this month. So let's see what that is for you. Group 3 for the month of May. Ooh, you got boundaries. Interesting as well. I'm going to take this one. You also have compassion. Interesting. Could also be, like I said, maybe you're feeling like it's something happening externally, and the fact that you have compassion showing up here with the globe or the earth, with a lot of things happening, in our world these days. It's a lot to kind of balance. It's a lot to hold on to. It's a lot to be, have your world tilted by. So the fact that you have boundaries showing up with this compassion, or what I'm really seeing more is like the world energy, is telling me that you're really finding ways to, yes, you have those walls, but also just allowing yourself to put boundaries up from other people, from other things that are making you feel out of whack on the outside too, right? You have all this stuff happening on the inside where you maybe are trying to work and mend through emotions and move through waves of grief. But from an outside perspective, things happening externally outside of you, outside of your control in the world, the big wide world, having these boundaries, maybe not getting on your phone as often, staying off social media, not watching the news all the time, making sure that, when you're talking with friends, maybe there's certain topics that you don't want to talk about related to emotions you're moving through. Whatever it might be, I feel like you're asking for compassion from yourself to have these boundaries, but also asking others in your life to respect this boundary so that you can navigate the world in a better way that's more healthy for you this month. So really nice to see those coming forward. Let's see what else you have going on in relationships. So you can see a specific, or look into these for a specific relationship in your life if you'd like to. So it could be a platonic, romantic, familial, or friendship, whatever you'd like to look into. But you can also just see this as an overarching relationship card to see what's going on for you for relationships for the month of May. So, group 3. Relationships for the month of May. Sorry, I had a hiccup there. Relationships for the month of May. Okay, so you have listen and opportunity. With that compassion, it really feels like people are listening to you, listening to your boundaries, listening to what your needs are, helping, and maybe even listening to you when it comes to like talk therapy or things like that. But also you have opportunity showing up here too. So maybe there's an opportunity for you to listen to someone else, but mostly I feel like it's them listening to you, really taking in what you need, listening to what your needs are, listening to your boundaries. So this is what it says here. You have be alert. The soft chiming bells call to nearby fairies. Interesting. A fairy message as well. And then you also have opportunity here with there is no use looking for luck. It arrives at unexpected times. So it also could be that you're just not expecting to be able to have these conversations, or maybe you're not expecting this compassion from someone in your life, but it seems like someone is listening and someone is maybe also helping you find opportunities that could be useful to you moving forward, right? So if you talk to someone about having a hard time or needing this thing or whatever it is, if they really listen and have that compassion and that understanding and wanting to help in some way, you might have someone also coming forward to give you an opportunity to make that thing happen or to help you out in some way. So someone is definitely listening out for you. Someone is definitely making sure to put you first a little bit. And that's really nice to see, or at least putting you second, at least putting you in their mind. So let's go ahead and finish off with the cards with a Taurus season message, and then we'll move to the charms to see those final details. But no matter if you're a Taurus or not, these are to look into Taurus season as a whole and how we can interact with it. And Taurus season is all about for me at least, indulging. It's about indulging and indulgence. So indulging into those sweeter things in life, really taking a bite out of the apple and really tasting it. Because Taurus is all about that sensual side. It's about really being mindful and in the moment and seeing the beauty in things, even if they're crap, you know? So we're going to see what you got going on here for something you could really sink your teeth into, really indulge in for Taurus season. Okay, that was quick. Let's see what that is. So, okay, so you have the Prairie King State. Oh my gosh, words today. Prairie King Snake with Shed, and it says, how can I know myself as bigger than any fear? And the Prairie King Snake is really nice to have coming forward for you with so many things that you're holding on to. Like, you got these roses, you got this, you got so much going on, and the fact that you got Shed coming forward is something to indulge in. Tells me that by putting out these boundaries, by asking for the things that you really need, by having someone listen to you, you might actually get a bit of that time off. You might get a little bit of that breathing room. You might get the emotional relief that you need, or release that you need. So letting yourself shed those tears, shed those emotions, shed those responsibilities a little bit, and have other people kind of take on those a little bit for you, could be really useful to you, and something that you could maybe indulge in a little bit more moving forward into the month. Something else that I just noticed too is, right, we've got like this infinity symbol happening in the balance card of the Two of Materials, and then also you have it reflected here in the boundaries. So these really do feel linked, which I've already been kind of talking about them linked, but I just think it's interesting sometimes when you can see those deeper connections. So let's go ahead and finish off your reading by pulling the charms. So feel free to have a little conversation with them, and I'll mix them up for you. Lots falling in the middle today. Let's go ahead and see. I think it's really interesting because I talked about earlier that the reason why you're maybe feeling out of balance is because something that's happening internally, or like, you know, having to do with your feelings and your emotions more than like just trying to organize your life in some way. But you did get the organization charm falling over here on that Two of Pentacles. So it's definitely not gonna hurt as well to maybe organize, use a planner, make sure that you have everything in order. And maybe also ask for the time off that maybe you need, or ask for those opportunities to come forward. And then all of the other charms that you have coming up are on boundaries. So maybe those boundaries are going to really help you when it comes to your confidence, because you do have the rose quartz coming forward here. This also feels like a nod to maybe checking out pile 2 as well, because the rose quartz, I believe, pile 2 was rose quartz. So that's something maybe to check out. You have the sort of ending a cycle charm I always think of, right? Because it's about like something that it's been cycling and cycling and cycling, spiraling even, and it's breaking a cycle. And so for you, I feel like you are maybe breaking a cycle of not putting these boundaries out, or breaking a cycle of maybe even thinking that there's no value, as it's so close to that emotional card of letting those emotions go, and again having that block there, that boundary that you've put there. Maybe you're kind of breaking that boundary, breaking open that shell a little bit, especially if you felt like there wasn't any value in doing so, because you did get the no cash value charm as well. So it feels like something maybe that you didn't feel like had a lot of value, or you didn't feel like other people valued the boundaries that you were putting forth, but maybe you're really putting them out a little bit more heavily this month. And then you also have showing your face charm. This represents really being authentic to you. So that's really nice to see as well, surrounding around boundaries, because, you know, boundaries are all about putting ourselves first. And so I really like that you're putting yourself first a little bit more this month, because it's really easy to put ourselves last, especially when it comes to, like I said, big world issues, big things that are happening, stuff that's really hard for us to balance, feeling like there's a lot happening, emotions building up, and not being able to, you know, one, have an outlet for them, but two, being able to have someone sort of to lean on. And so by putting these boundaries out, it may seem like you're holding people back, but sometimes by putting boundaries out and being like, hey, I can't talk about that right now, you're actually opening yourself up more to people because you're not feeling the weight of the world on your chest, right? So really nice charms to have come forward. I hope that this has been a useful reading to you, and if it has, definitely be sure to give this video a like, and let me know as always in the comments down below what you saw in the charms and the cards. You had a lot going on with visual connection, so I'd love to hear. And if you did enjoy this reading and you'd like to see more pick a card readings like this, then definitely feel free to subscribe, as I put out new readings every single Monday that I think you'd really enjoy. And I also sprinkle in some educational videos on art magic and charm casting that you can check out as well. And if anything sort of sparked any questions or queries for you, or a situation outside of all of this that you'd like to explore even further, my snail mail readings are open, so feel free to reach out for one of those where I send a letter to you in the mail. It is typewritten on a vintage typewriter, it is wax sealed closed for your eyes only, and is on any question or query on your mind or situation in which you'd like to explore. All of the information is down below through my Instagram, and if you get lost along the way and you want to know more about them, feel free to just reach out. I would love to send the information your way and answer any of your questions. So with that all said, I'm going to go ahead and close off this reading, but thank you so much for being here with me today, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.